Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Get Real, Get Wiser. Today we have Avi Hacker, an AI specialist. Go ahead, Avi. Let us know who you are.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm really excited to get into AI and how it could help the real estate industry. My name's Avi Hacker. I founded the AI Consulting Network, and my bio, I'll keep it on the briefer side. So someone might see a person graduated accounting degree and then worked at PwC, went to law school, now end up doing AI consulting. And the beauty, I think, perfectly sums up what AI is able to accomplish at the everyday person. I graduated college with a public accounting, business management, finance degree. My original goal was the CPA. So I worked at PwC for 2 years in the risk assurance division, doing SOC 1, SOC 2s, really getting good understanding around security and automation, which is a great background for me to have. But at the time, I didn't fully appreciate it and I didn't enjoy it so much. So then I transferred to law school and started working for a solo practitioner doing real estate and corporate law, getting a great background and understanding LLCs and corporations. They were just fascinating to me and the whole real estate industry as a whole. When ChatGPT came out in the middle of my law school career, I was kind of playing around with it. I had this moment that this is going to really change everything because everything was so manual, everything was so inefficient. I was just exploring and adopting, okay, like how could I do this better? And I had no tech background, no coding background. So I was starting from zero. The more I dove in and tried to learn how to utilize these tools, I realized what large language models were and different capabilities. It's not just chat out there. It opened up this whole world to me. At the end of law school, I pushed off the bar and decided to launch my own company, helping small to medium sized businesses in the real estate industry. I really love the real estate industry. And there's stigma that it lags behind in AI or tech adoption. So I just wanted to really target that industry and help people out, helping people do the work that they want to do instead of the tedious task that they have to
We'll
start
get
a
into all those
company.
details. See, here's my surprise for you, Avi. I think last week you posted that when you have a meeting with somebody, you're scheduled to have a meeting, you actually have
Yeah.
that meeting in AI with them before you actually meet them. So I don't know if you did
Yeah.
this podcast in AI before we had the podcast, but I did.
Oh, really?
Yep, I got my script. I got our whole meeting transcript, and let's see what happens.
I want you to let me know how I did compared to my AI self
Mhm.
also.
I will be happy
What
to
I
send you the
did to,
transcript.
so I actually did not do that for this podcast, but I did go to your YouTube channel where you did the first podcast. There was this new thing called Perplexity Comet that could go through YouTube videos. So I just asked it, please give me all the questions you asked and the format. And then I said, can you go to his LinkedIn, go to his website, give me a full description. And then it took over my screen and started doing it all for me. These are the steps that in a couple of minutes, you could have a full bio ready to go, no matter.
Okay, so let's go back childhood. Were you a tech guy? What type of guy were you? Were you a sports guy, a tech guy, studious, troublemaker?
Growing up, I didn't always care so much about school or grades. I was kind of just going through school. No subject was particularly interesting to me.
Mhm.
In college, when I didn't know what to do in my career, I was like, you know what? People say accounting a great catch-all. So I picked one of the biggest majors I could find in Brooklyn College, which was accounting, business management, and finance to get the full credits to take the CPA exam. So I figured I'll cover all my bases, a background to then try to see where I want to go.
Right. So let's jump to accounting. You did your accounting degree, so you obviously did well in school. You got a good job, and you're
Yeah,
sitting in PwC thinking, what's with my future? Is that what you came to work thinking every day?
I was working long weeks, let's say 60 to 80 hours during busy season,
Mhm.
doing auditing these big companies, these processes. It felt like if I'm working so hard that I jumped to entrepreneurship, if I'm working so hard, I want to be doing it for myself.
What was the light bulb moment that made you switch gears and say, okay, law school?
The entrepreneurship came later towards the end of law school, but from law school, I interacted with a couple of legal teams within PwC. I just found that work more interesting. The legalities, the thought process, the thinking around certain clauses.
And then you started your company. But why? Like, you didn't want to take the bar. You made it all the way to the finish line and just one drop to go to become a lawyer.
2 months ago, I did sit and take the bar. I'm still waiting for the
Oh,
results.
wow.
I made the decision towards the end of law school a year and a half ago to push off the bar for a year.
Hmm.
I was gaining knowledge around AI. And the more of people, the more I saw that people weren't utilizing it. I knew I was early to people figuring this out, and there was so much noise out there. I felt I had a good grasp on understanding and applying it. So I decision to not study for the bar right after graduating and launch my company to start getting traction.
Well, I applaud that decision because things are moving so fast. Cutting out for 3 months is probably going to put you right back to where you started. Let's dive into AI a little bit.
Yeah.
What is it that you do? Who are your clients? And what is the product or service that you provide?
Yeah. So I help real estate professionals, small to medium sized business owners go through their process and understand where they could leverage AI for their biggest bottleneck to help them grow if they don't want to hire more employees or they have just too much work on their plate. I help them understand how to utilize the current technology. And
Give us some
because
real
there are
world examples. You come into a company, give us a client that you had, what exactly you found, what type of firm was it, how big, what were their goals, what were their pain points, and how did you solve it?
I was working with a multifamily real estate syndicator. He's the head of his company and was managing everything from raising for deals, marketing, underwriting,
How many people
and
did he have working
it's
for him?
it was just himself. One of the most underutilized things I see within ChatGPT is the custom GPT's feature. People just don't know about, so they don't know how to apply it. I've helped build personas for certain actions he would take daily. Now, if he wants to write an email marketing campaign, we could build a custom GPT, the role, instructions, knowledge base. So anytime you do that task, just go to that custom chat and it'll be formatted perfectly. Or let's say now you want to underwrite a deal. Think of these as, I don't want to call them people, but it's like personas where you could do each persona for each different task. Once everything's set up, you go through each persona when you want to do that task. Gets done so much faster. You have a draft of what you want to do, you review it, make a few edits, and then you're basically done. That's the beauty of AI.
How many personas did you build for him?
I would say maybe like six or I tried. My approach is to teach the person to level up in their skills as opposed to just try to build it out and give it to them and walk away because everything is evolving so fast. And I see it's really more of a knowledge adoption because people can't keep up. I'm spending all day, every day with the latest technology, keeping up to date on what's possible. One of the biggest issues I see real estate people is finding proper owner information. So when I started, ChatGPT wasn't able to connect to the internet. So it wasn't helpful finding property information. Once it got the internet feature, you scrape certain people's data. Like, hey, can you try to find owner information for the property? It was speeding up the process. Then there was the pain point of information on a deed or government websites, and you would have to click through pages or different login methods. There were services you hook up through a custom GPT, spin up your own browser, and do much deeper research on finding property owner information. One of the use cases I was constantly trying is in New York, find a property owner on the deed. You can log into Acris, type in the block and lot number, and then pull up the deed, find out when the property was sold. And that wasn't really possible because it was just scraping surface layer data. But then ChatGPT agent was released and also Perplexity Comet. I did a lot about those two. Okay, find me the property owner information for New York. If it didn't have the block and lot number, it would go to Zillow or Redfin to get the lot number. Then I'll go to Acris because it really depends on the quality of the prompts to guide the agent. And it would click all the buttons, fill out all the forms, pull up the deed, scan the information, and then get you that information, like the source of truth from the actual deed on when was the property sold, who was on the deed, like how much was it sold for, what's the description. This is all available through ChatGPT itself. It's really a whole new way of thinking. And when people don't know that something like that is possible, I think it's such a limiter that once I tell people what I have done, then they start to think bigger. And I think AI is really that force multiplier where you give one person with big ideas and now you're able to achieve more of what you were able to achieve before.
That's incredible. So let's go back to this multifamily syndicator. You built him an office of 10 employees. What was his reaction? His workload just now dropped and life just became, I feel like I'm living in Bewitched. You just like twitch your nose and whatever you want. I thought I'm going to get on this podcast and say, I don't get it. I can do everything you can do. But the stuff you're telling me is even more mind-blowing than all the mind-blowing stuff that I do every day. And I'm blown away by the stuff I do.
Yeah, there's always another level. One of the purpose that I set out on this journey was I feel like there's always more to life, to actually get out of life what you want to do besides just the grunt work. He wants to help people raise money and just get more out of life. I'm trying to also help people, taking away that extra work that isn't needed to be done by you every single time. And
which is taking up 90% of your day.
Exactly. But it's not automatic. Like sometimes you see those really big systems that run autonomously and people aren't observing. But I believe you have your ideas and you know what you want to say. You go into the custom personas and say, okay, I want to build out this marketing campaign. This is how I want it to sound. He'll draft it for you, then you edit. So it's not fully automatic, but the whole process is so much quicker. He told me, and it was so nice to hear that he was able to spend more time on the weekends with his family and more time with his kids because of what we were able to achieve with offloading a lot of that grunt work with AI.
Just the thought of him having to fully staff operation, right? So now he's going to have to start interviewing people, hire people, train people. He won't like half of them. They won't do a great job, the ones that he does keep. And then all of a sudden, a little smoke, and then all of a sudden appears all these dream employees out of nowhere that he controls.
Exactly. And if you don't like the output or if it's not acting in a certain way, that's why I like to meet with people, let's say once a week or once every 2 weeks on a retainer basis, going through their day, seeing what's working, what's not working. Because if it's not outputting the output you want, so why? We'll go into the instructions. Maybe we need to tailor those instructions a little more in the knowledge base. Whenever people tell me that it's not helpful, it's really more of a, have you dug into it enough?
Right.
Are you writing proper instructions? Are you using the correct model? At some point, ChatGPT had 8 different models you could choose from. So it happens to be that each model is specific for a different. So if you were trying to review a lot of due diligence documents or title reports and they were too big for Chat, then I would recommend using something like Gemini because it has a bigger context window. Ingest all of the documents and remember all of the data. That's why I call myself a fractional chief AI officer, where I come in and give you straight advice on what are you dealing with, what tools should you use, how should you use it, and then you're on your way.
I love it. What's your business model? You consult for them on an ongoing basis, or it's a one-time fee? How does that work?
Yeah, right now my business model is I like to approach it as a month-by-month retainer where we meet an hour a week and then go through your day. You fill out a questionnaire and then we start. One of the most useful use cases that I have, I'm also modeling all of this I basically do the work of 30 people every day with all my things set up. It's incredible. One of the first things I do with every client is help them build out their own custom ChatGPT their own personal AI assistant or digital twin,
Mhm.
whatever they like to call it. So I have them send their entire background, their website, their resume, sample emails they've written, things they've published online. Then I perfectly curate a prompt that would embody them as their own twin and put their stuff up, their objectives, their past knowledge base. I give them a digital twin of themselves. They strategize with themselves, think of ideas on what they want to take the company with themselves. And now you basically duplicated with
Wow,
yourself.
that's
And
amazing.
yeah. So now anytime I have ideas on how I want to move forward, I turn on ChatGPT, go to my custom GPT and talk to it. I do have that experience of connecting the dots. And it's such a different experience.
Right. Give us one more use case. We have multifamily syndicator. I'm tempted to ask you about a law firm, but I'll leave it up to you to tell me, maybe you have a different example you'd like to share with us.
No, I did actually work with Solo. She worked in big law for like 15, 20 years. Then she left to open up her own firm. So now she needs to streamlining her operations. None of this is legal advice, it's a disclaimer. So like you, there always needs to be the human in the loop. But let's say for reviewing these large contracts or due diligence, a lot of people in law firms have these templates that are kind of plug and play or based on certain deals. And you see that real estate industry also. But when you get these long riders, contracts, or appendix or addendums, there are a lot. If you want to quickly scan through it, is there any red flags pick up right away before into over 100-page document? And I still recommend reading every single word because AI might skip things, but it could just pick up things for you right away that you should just focus on while you review it. Or if you're redrafting something, you could just say, okay, how could I redraft this that's buyer friendly and would focus on this provision? Does this provision affect any other clauses in the contract? Because I've seen way too many times where people are recycling contracts and names from other parties slip through. There are clauses there that shouldn't be there.
Right.
And it just like that last check that could save you from being sued for malpractice. People don't like reading, and this might make people read, but it adds layer of extra safety. Even if they don't want to use AI to draft, you want to do everything. What's the harm of putting the contract in? And is there any conflicting clauses?
Right.
Should I be thinking about anything that could expose to liability? It's that extra layer of protection for yourself.
Right. Wow, that's interesting. So my question is, right now, Avi Hacker, people don't know much about AI. You're in the forefront, you're plowing the earth for them, and you're teaching them how to use it. Come a year from now, 2 years from now, I don't want to sound naive, so I'm never going to say that people will catch up. There's a limit to how much AI we need and how much AI can do for us, because I've seen enough in my life to know that it's limitless and it will continue growing. And there'll always be a need for an Avi Hacker. In 1898, the head of the patent office in New York said, we can close this office down because everything that has to be invented has already been invented. That's the same naive statement I can make today, even though that's what's going through my head. How do you stay relevant? Are you afraid of people understanding AI? Because the problem with AI is, and like every problem that people say back then, people thought it was a problem, but it wasn't, and things kept on going. But AI sort of learns by itself. By definition, AI should answer all your problems at some point without needing a hacker, because everybody will have AI to do everything for them, including think for them, right? Including figure
Yeah.
out how to go forward.
Yeah, 100%. I think about that all the time. I think no matter how good AI gets, there's always still the human component where people don't know its capabilities. There's always be a need for someone to show the initial steps of how to properly leverage it in your company and what to do with it properly. People have told me, why do I need to hire you? Why can't I just go to ChatGPT right now and say, how can you help me? Yeah, I mean, we barely even scratched the surface. Like, there's ChatGPT, Claude, Perplex. Like, I've tried every single large language model. I've built my own apps, my servers, and I do not know how to code. I'm literally building out everything. I cloned Chat last week just to see if I could do it. I wanted to get people on a certain platform and give access. But like, that's what I love so much, that any idea that comes to my mind, I could just do something about it. That's why I love doing this so much. But AI right now doesn't even know its own capabilities. So when I was speaking with a client and he was reviewing transcripts for a large meeting that he was on, let's say it went on for an hour and a half, and he would say, summarize what each person said. So we went on our call and he's like, Avi, like, I'm putting it in like you said, and it's always leaving out like 5 or 6 names. And like I ask it, why is it doing it? And it says, because it's too large and I just can't do it. Sometimes you could read its reasoning and it says, like, oh, I'm getting lazy, it's too large, so I'll just skim it. So it's picking up a lot of human nuances when it's being trained on human data. Then I was like, okay, what model are you using? So now all these models are going to get so intelligent, but unless you know what toggles to switch on, how to properly use it, I think there's going to be a lot of options because there are going to be a lot of people that are more tech inclined and more people that don't know what to do. So we need to tell people, okay, this is how you properly use this technology to get the best out of it.
Right. Like you said, even today, ChatGPT is choosing the model for you. So that
Yeah.
capability is going to get sharper and smarter going forward, where we won't have to worry about which model we're using.
Yeah. It's a good question that a lot of people are thinking about. I watch a lot of interviews with Sam Altman, and everyone tries to predict the future, like what happens once AGI is achieved
Mhm.
and the prompts could prompt themselves and you don't even need to do anything. I think ultimately come down to a human relationship environment where everything that could be automated will get automated, and then everyone could just focus on relationship building and is really important to people. But then what happens when no one's able to do any work? Like that's a question I don't have an answer to. I think about that all the
Which
time
could be in 3 years
because
from
right
now.
now I think it's going to take longer than even once it's achieved. People have to feel comfortable adopting it and to make sure that everything is grit and the regulations allow for these autonomous agents to do. There will be slow adoption. If it does achieve, I'm not sure what will happen. The laws, regulations behind the technology. 2 weeks ago, a company released coding agent. If you say you want to build a property management dashboard, start going out, building it, and it'll run itself. So then if it doesn't know what to do, it'll search online and continue building. If it runs into an issue, it'll try to figure out the issue and start fixing it. Once it's done, it'll spin up its own instance of a computer, start testing all the buttons, sure it works, and then continuously doing it without anyone needing to touch it. Once we achieve that in every field, it's very exciting where everything is going. We just need to be mindful of the human component and not just destroying all of our jobs in the process.
I always believe that when you talk about progress, you can't say, but it's going to hurt me. You got to progress. And then you got to figure out how you're going to fit into that progress. You can't try to say, let's slow down progress because I may not have a place in it. That's on
Yeah.
you to figure out, be honest, go forward, make humanity better, more modern, and then you figure out your role in this new civilization. But to hold back progress is not going to work because what you're not going to do, the next person will do. We make fun of our parents. We always used to joke around that, Ma, you grew up with a horse and buggy, right? But literally, the difference between me and my parents is nothing. We were just about the same compared to what's going on today. It's a different world. I don't know any sci-fi television show or movie that matches the stuff they can do today. I'm not talking about the gee whiz stuff and we're in outer space. I'm just talking about basic things that nobody dreamt would be possible.
Yeah. And I try to take that and push it to the limit of exactly in real estate. And I just posted a video 2 weeks ago because I just want to show people what is possible. Like I always say, things are going to break, things are not going to work on the first try, and that's fine. Don't expect it to be perfect. The answers might have hallucinations in them, but it's still your job to verify. It's your helper. It's not going to be like you're outsourcing your brain and you don't need to do any more work. It's just going to be there to assist you.
Let me ask you another question. What's your close rate? 99.9%? When you sit down with somebody, when you finally get somebody's ear and he gives you 15, 20 minutes to explain what you can do for him, have you ever had somebody walk away and say, no, not for me?
See, that's the funny part because I actually get told no more often than you would think. Like just last year alone, I've had over 300 meetings
Mhm.
from LinkedIn, and I would say 7 clients out of that. But you're promising them the world and showing them what's possible. The human component really comes in that people are scared. And also, there's so much noise, so they might not believe you. So you have to show that they could trust you. And people are just very uncomfortable with how fast things are changing. So it's kind of just a more thought out process, taking it step by step. I'm learning how to also teach the technology in the best way possible.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, I'm coming on too strong, saying I could do too much too fast. So it's kind of just taking it step by step. So it's like, we don't want to change. I don't care if it's going to make us faster. I don't trust this technology. So it's really just about people getting more comfortable and the idea with AI being able to help them.
Are you finding that younger people are more open to something like this? I wrote about this on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago. I have a daughter who's a programmer, Monday.com. She's a superstar over there. And I have a daughter who just graduated school and is looking for a job. If you talk to both of them about AI, they have two different views. My daughter, who's been doing this for 15 years, will tell you AI is nice. We use it and we integrate it, but let's not get carried away. My other daughter, who's taken a boot camp just for AI programming, like, yeah, let's just do AI. It may be a little bit premature, but at the end of the day, I do believe my younger daughter is going to kick my older daughter out of her job because she'll always be human first, AI second, rather than AI first. The younger generation is just going to turn around, and these established people that refuse to use AI are going to see they lost everything to the younger generation who is just blowing everything away with their AI. Is that a fair
Yeah.
assessment?
I would say there's a caveat to that from the perspective of if you're a business owner or employee, part of an organization, what's your incentive to learn and use AI? I'm speaking to a lot of my friends or colleagues that are now working for a law firm, or now you're the head of the law firm. So let's say you're a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur. So I'm leveraging AI to get 10 times more work done that will directly benefit me. But now let's say you're a business owner telling your employees to leverage AI to still work your 40-hour work week. But now I expect you to get double the amount done and not pay you more. So now there's this increasing anxiety of what's the point of me doing my work faster and better if there's no incentives? The marketplace as a whole has to start adopting to what this means for employees as opposed to employers because it directly benefits employers more than it does employees. So I think it's just kind of like this friction of like, okay, why do I need to do it? Because if I get this task done in the next 2 hours, I'm just going to get more work from my employer for the next week. So I might as well just drag it out as long as possible so I don't have to get more work.
But next
Like
week,
there's
there'll be somebody else sitting in your seat.
and that's the hard. So I think it's really on the person to be open-minded on how to position themselves to evolve with the technology and use it as a multiplier to benefit themselves to not get replaced because there are people like myself. I'm literally working at least 10 hours a day, staying up to date. Every single new model that's released, I'm extensively testing it on every platform. There are tons of people that know this technology in and out. Even if there's a task that I'm not sure how to do it, I'm pushing the boundaries every single day on what I'm able to do. I'm just utilizing AI to teach me how to do it and then just to do it myself. So you just become a better problem solver as a whole, as opposed to just doing your one job you were hired for. So I think that's how you can position yourself when you go to an employer saying, I know how to do this role, I have this expertise, and I know how to leverage AI. So I think that's becoming way more valuable than just your domain expertise alone.
Right. That's a very interesting perspective. Thank you for sharing that. Where are you in 20 years from now?
It's a great question. My goal is to start building one of the biggest AI consulting companies and helping businesses really grow and unlock more time with their family or the things that they want to do in life. So that's doing more workshops, more speaking opportunities, and just growing and benefiting society as a whole. And also the real estate industry to get more people to realize that there's so much more to life than just putting your head down and working and feeling stressed all the time, enjoying life.
Do you have a mentor with this, or your mentor is ChatGPT?
I've built out a council of mentors. I have an idea. I have my lawyer persona, my entrepreneur persona, my advisor persona. They all know everything about my company and chime in their perspective. As powerful as AI is, I still through LinkedIn that I love getting on a Zoom, their real life experience and advice on I'm heading in the right direction. AI give excellent advice, but it's just lacking that like experience
Right.
that I don't know if someone started companies through that building, selling, no matter what, I'm always speak to a person about it. I have people that I still speak to.
Okay, so the AI expert still thinks that there's a need for civilization and humanity. That's fantastic.
100%.
It's been refreshingly exciting. I learned a ton, and I hope all you people out there learned a ton too. So thank you, Avi Hacker, for joining us and shedding light on what's going on in AI, especially as it relates to real estate, but in AI in general. That's the end of another episode of Get Real, Get Wiser. I think this was pretty darn real, and I know I
Yeah.
got a lot
Thank you
wiser.
so much.
Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day until next time.